What a night it was last night at the Andrew Gaze Awards night. We've got so much to talk about. Plus, we've got the play-in series starting tomorrow. It is going to be a big edition of NBL Overtime. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. I'm not Cam Luke, and thank goodness, because my life would suck if I was Cam Luke. But it is great to be with you. My name's Jack Heverin, and I'm only kidding, of course. Cam, I love you. Liam Santamaria, looking sharp, my man. Good
Thank you, man. Hey, great job by you last night. You're a superhero right now. Last night, everything you did, back up and going today.
Sharpest dressed man in the room, as always, Corey Williams.
Listen, you absolutely right. You're 3-0, baby. We cannot change what's working. You're a lifer for the Gazies and what you've done this season with the NBL.
What did we think of last night, gents? It was a big night, big room, big occasion. It was pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to have everyone back in the same room again. Last couple of years, of course, COVID interrupted awards ceremonies, so having everybody there was great. I thought that the whole thing was run really well. The fashion was nice. Everybody, the boys, the girls, everyone was bringing it. You had a little trouble with Kai Soto. I think that's fair to say. That was tricky. That was a little tricky.
Came up to his belly button. I think we need to bring in a rule next year, the Gazies. Either that or change the host. Only point guards can win awards next year, Corey.
He looked good, man. It was great. I enjoyed it. Hell of a night. Glad I was in the building. Everybody, like as you said, looked incredible. And the award winners were pretty much what we pretty much thought they were going to be, for the most part.
What did you think of Xavier Cooks? Let's start with him as the MVP of the competition.
I was, on the bandwagon for a while, and I think it went to the right person. His team has pretty much been in first place 90% of the season, with them losing that trio of imports. And for him to have to come in and, carry the bulk of what they do at both ends, I think he was exceptional, and it went to the right person.
Liam?
It was cool to see how much it meant to him, wasn't it? I mean, he was clearly, you were right there up close and personal. I mean, he was clearly a bit emotional. Obviously, there's a bit of pressure when you're kind of like the favourite and the expectation. He's thinking, I actually really want this thing. I'm trying to make the leap to the next level. Of course, he wants to lead his team to another championship. But he wanted to add this to his resume as well, and he got it. I thought he handled himself really well up there as well. This mention of Creaky and Cotton and the like was really classy. And I agree with you. I mean, we both thought it would be X to begin the year, and then maybe we kind of it got tight over the course of the season. But he was the best player on the best team. There's more to it than just that, and people can talk about the numbers. He doesn't score as much as Xavier Cook, as Bryce Cotton or Mitch Creek or other guys, but he just does so much for that team. He is unbelievably valuable to that squad.
Dude, let's talk about the year he's had. Last year. Grand Final MVP, obviously wins the championship. Goes over to New Zealand, gets MVP of the league for the New Zealand NBL. Then he comes back and gets MVP of the league and is in pole position to go back-to-back and get Finals MVP. That's incredible in itself to potentially get sent off. That's how you want to get sent off to the NBA.
We have all been talking about and thinking about, all right, over the course of this off-season, what might it look like for Xavier Cooks in terms of getting an NBA opportunity? But do you think there's scope potentially for something at the end of this NBA season? Like right now, guys who have been eliminated, Kai Soto's about to go play in Japan. Xavier Cooks wasn't there last night because he's on a plane to Turkey, picked up a deal. Now, the Kings are going to go the distance, but this season is going to finish a little earlier than often does. Do you think there's a 10-day or two maybe for him at the end of the year?
Definitely. I mean, he's played at a high level for pretty much the majority of the season, and they finish up on a high with the respect that this league now has. I want to pause real quick about that, but let's just talk about how many scouts are just over here. Like, that never happened. Not these numbers are not this consistent. So for them to really be Zooming him and messaging him, like there's a genuine interest in him, and I could see that happening. can see it happening. He ain't going back to New Zealand NBL.
Oh,
That's for sure.
That's not
No,
happening.
I'm sure that they would love to have him back. Memo to the New Zealand NBL. You ain't getting him back. He's not coming back next season. We mentioned that there was a lot of love in the room last night. I reckon, Liam, the most love in the room, it felt to me, was when Adam Ford was crowned Coach of the Year.
Yeah, everyone loves 40, right? Like he's a genuine guy. He's great to chat with, and the players that have played under him in Cairns, but also in Sydney, and particularly back in the day in Perth, love him because he has put so much into them. So yeah, he was a popular winner, and Mody Mayor also, and Chase Buford. The level of respect for what Chase Buford's done for the Kings, I think, is really high. But 40, great to see him up there. And as we spoke about on NBL earlier today, he's a great coaching story. The way he's worked his way up from the bottom.
There are no losers in that category. It could have went to anybody. And shout out to Adam Ford, what he has done throughout his career. How you just said he's where he started, where he's at. You can always gauge a coach on, we say the relationship with Keanu Pender, what he's been able to do with him, and you're absolutely right. But what he's been able to do with Ben Air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you can get a guy that confident, put him on your team, and think about what Ben Air did in that space when Keanu Pender was out. What everybody did. But Ben Air comes from, okay. Do you know the story with Ben Air, how he got to Cairns?
Mm-hmm. Joey.
For those who don't know, right, he wasn't getting paid. He was working. Going to practice, and it's like, yo, we can get you on, but this is what it is, no problem. Then somebody got injured, then he got on. Then the magical game, 22-10 against Melbourne United, showed he's a legit backup in the league. Gets re-signed. When they needed it most, when Keanu was out, look what he did. That's the confidence of what the coach and the belief in the coach to play him. You can do that. That's Coach of the Year stuff. It's easy to go to the main guy and say, look what he did to the main. Look what he did to the guy you least expected to get that type of productivity from. Shout out to Adam Ford, man.
He's a phenomenal story, and I think probably one of the sharpest dressed men in the room.
Oh, he comes smooth with it. Fade be on point, too.
That three-piece was unbelievable, 40. Well done to you. Let's take a look at the All-NBL first team, just to recap what we saw last night. Anything jumping out at us here?
Not at all. This was the five that I thought that would be in there.
Yeah, I think, look, Walton, Cotton, Creek, Cooks, I think everybody felt like it was going to be those four, and then it was... Really, who would that other guy be? Would it be Milton Doyle? Would it be DJ Hogue? Would it be Barry Brown Jr.? Perhaps, but man, Doyle was outstanding this year. Awesome for Tassie to have their first guy in an All-NBL first team, and he's well-deserving.
And the All-NBL second team, well, that, again, similar to the first team, Liam, could have been made up of another 4 or 5 names that missed here. Great for New Zealand, and Chris Golding's just a story of continued excellence in this competition.
Consistency is key. He's a superstar. Chris Gould, you know what you're going to get with him night in, night out. From the beginning to the season to the end, you know what he's going to get. Congratulations on all the milestones that you have hit this season.
I think the other thing that's cool there is that for Cairns and New Zealand, bottom 2 teams last year, they're in the playoffs. They're probably going to go deep, both of them, and they've got so many players featuring in this All-NBL first and second team.
And across the awards, we talk about Coach of the Year and Next Generation Awards, 6 Man of the Year, all coming from those teams.
Defensive Player of the Year. I'm sorry, he was a finalist.
Yeah. Maybe you could argue maybe should have got it in the end. Couple of guys who I reckon might go into the finals with a little chip on their shoulder, not getting an All-NBL second team nod. Alan Williams. Led the league in rebounds, 16 and 10 pretty much, and he would have been in that mix. And Jarrell Brantley as well. I mean, he didn't feature in anything last night, and he's been a revelation for the Breakers.
Let's go back to last weekend, and in particular last Sunday. It was a crazy, crazy end to the NBL 23 regular season. The script writers, whatever they're getting paid, put your invoice in for double for what you did last Sunday. What a wild old last day it was.
Usually, I always have, I'm never short for words, but I was heartbroken. As a former hooper, man, for you to lose the way you lost. Yeah, Melbourne United came here and handled business. They did what they needed to do, put themselves in the best position they could possibly have. And then to see this game right here go the way it was, like, all right, we don't have a chance. And then Sydney starts storming back. It's like, wait a minute. We got a chance. We back in this. And then for it to end the way it did, that just ripped the hearts out of United. And I was sad for them because I'd rather lose by 20 and not have a chance than lose out the way they lose out. Mm-hmm. When you really think about it, it comes back to being up 9 with 43 seconds left in Perth, and they lose that game. They win that game, they're in.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of several ifs or buts. Like they dribbled a bunch of games out over the course of the season, and they might go back on that. But as Scott Roth also said about all this, mate, make a couple more free throws at some point during the year. Grab a couple more offensive rebounds. Who knows how close it would have been. But look, that's how it is. If it's going to be close, if it's going to come down to the wire, you're going to have the joy of whoever it fell for, like the Wildcats in this instance, and you're going to have the heartbreak for whoever missed out. And what a wild roller coaster of a day. Because you see the images of their celebrations at the end of the game because they're like, we've done everything we can. We've probably done enough here. Yeah. And then when Vasiljevic hit that shot with 50 seconds to go, and it cut it from 11 to 8 and really was going crazy on the sidelines. He was so angry. You could imagine Melbourne, probably all those guys thought, we're in. We're in. We're going to play in the finals. It's a throwdown. We're going to beat Southeast Melbourne. Here we go. Their season's over.
What about that cheeky little smile that DJ Vasiljevic had? The man is a stone cold killer. Takes them from 11 to 8 down. He knew the score. He knew the result. He knew what was up for grabs. The man's an animal.
Man, that's the bad boy, the villain, the bad boy in the Kings, and he as well. I mean, he's no stranger to ripping the hearts out of teams on the road. You know, what he did last year against the Tassie JackJumpers, you damn sure know that's what he was trying to do. Because the last 2 misses, he was trying to finish Perth. Did you see the closeout, I think, by Cotton under him in the corner? It was like the hardest closeout ever. Right. Then it goes out of bounds, and then he tried to finish him again from the key.
And it's like a 10-point game. Right?
They're going hard.
It's not even for the win.
It don't even matter to you. He was trying to finish him.
Meanwhile, clutch from the Wildcats to get it done.
Yeah.
Up 8, which is really down 3 with 50 seconds to go. The bucket from Webster, big time.
Tough.
And then the free throws from Manic.
Yeah.
And those guys were big, man. Like Cotton had his least efficient game of his career. He shot like 5% from the field, 5 turnovers, but others stood up. And that's how they designed that team over the offseason for that kind of situation. Cotton had so much pressure on him at the end of last year. We need other guys who can contribute, and they had those guys step up.
Plenty more to come here on NBL Overtime. Of course, you can get involved. #NBL Overtime. We're going to talk about the Brisbane Bullets, who have got a new coach, and start to look ahead to what is coming up. Stay with us.
He needs no introduction. Here is Bryce Cotton. Bryce Cotton. Mitch Creek. Beautiful Creek. Some offensive firework.
Two of the biggest names and two of the players that will have the biggest says on the NBL final series and the play-in starting tomorrow night. And we start with Southeast Melbourne playing host to the Perth Wildcats at John Cain Arena. This right here is going to be a whopper game. Pardon the pun, a whopper game first up.
Massive marquee matchup of MVP candidates. Not going to match up directly against each other, but who can step up and lead their team over the line in a do-or-die situation. Loser, gone. Winner progresses. Can't wait to see it play out. Now, we saw these teams go up against each other a few weeks ago, and the Phoenix beasted them on the glass. Completely dominated them. Alan Williams, 27-14. Mitch Creek, the same. They are what the Phoenix do really well is where the Wildcats struggle. They get on the offensive glass and the Wildcats can't block out. What the Wildcats do really well, hit shots from long range. The Phoenix don't do that at a high rate. So how it all goes up against each other is going to be fascinating.
Is Ryan Brokoff going to play this game? No.
Unlikely.
Unlikely.
Maybe.
I think he'll play.
Well, hang on.
He might not be 100%.
He'll be out there for a bit.
I think he'll. It's do or die, right?
Do or die.
You got a little something?
I just think he'll play.
Yo, he got a little something.
Oh, he's got something. He's got something, all right.
This is why those imports were brought in. Mitch Creek, you know what he's going to do. Williams, less pressure personally as far as in his life because he has that security now, right?
Yeah.
So he'll be even more excited to go out and do what he does against this team specifically. So again, advantage him.
Yeah.
Trey Kell will be ready to play. Gary Brown will be ready to play, right? So as we did, we saw the guys yesterday, and everybody's in real good spirits and ready. You're home. You are home. You should handle this game. On the other side, Ty Webster playing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Bryce Cotton had a horrible game, like we know. They ain't gonna be two of those consecutive.
He's going for 40.
They ain't gonna be two of those.
Yeah.
So how you contain him, as we all know, you have to somehow contain him. Can you contain Brady Manick? Corey Webster's been playing exceptional basketball this second half when they needed him most. And Ty Webster, it'll be really interesting. Luke Travis is gonna have to have a big one as well. So, look, it's hard to go past Southeast Melbourne Phoenix at home. And we all know when they're pretty much healthy and out there, that record is a really good record.
Yeah.
So I'm going with the Phoenix in that one.
I think the point you make about Ryan Broekhoff is a really good one. Because, we talk about Alan Williams and Mitch Creek and what they did on the interior against the Wildcats recently. Broekhoff hit 6 threes in that first half.
Yep.
22 points at halftime, and he gave them what ended up being a decisive lead in that game. Because you got to score. The Wildcats will keep scoring. You're going to have to score up there in the 80s or 90s to beat this team. So he's going to be key in that regard. And if he's not 100% or not good to have that kind of impact, Trey Kell.
Gonna have to come big.
Gonna have to come big. Yeah. And then the other thing for me is Alan Williams' foul trouble. So can Tashawn Thomas kind of catch it, face up, rip, and try to draw an early foul or two on Alan Williams? Or down the other end, you can body up and take a charge on him. If that sort of thing happens early, huge advantage to the Wildcats.
At this time of the year, it's such a chess match, right? You don't want to come out too hype, you're getting foul trouble, right? You don't want to come down too low because then that player could potentially take advantage of you, whoever you're defending, right? Me, if I'm Alan Williams, I'm chilling, not chilling, but I'm not going to be uber aggressive in that first quarter because I'd rather go hard for 3 quarters with 5 fouls in my pocket than, be super hesitant for the duration of the game if I come out ultra hard. So it'll be very interesting with that because that's important. Because when I used to go at players, I'm like, I got to get you 2 fouls. I got to get you your first foul quick in the first quarter. Because now you're on the back foot. You can't go hard. You're too important to your team. So it's like the person that gets the first foul of the team has the advantage.
Who's winning and why? Both of you?
Phoenix. It's Phoenix at home. I can't go past them. It's their time now. It's their time now. I cannot go past the Phoenix at home.
Liam?
I think the same. Phoenix at home. They do an amazing job of getting to the free throw line, best in the league, along with the Kings. And I think in the pressure environment of the postseason with their crowd going nuts, they'll get those whistles and they'll get over the line.
I think they're the most dangerous team in it right now, the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, to be honest. I think they've got so many weapons, they're so versatile, and they're there. And a week ago, they didn't think they were going to be there, so they got nothing to lose. Meanwhile, for Cairns, they've qualified for a home final. Tomorrow night, they will host the Tasmania JackJumpers, and it's going to be a Tassie team without Josh Majette. Corey, just on Majette to start with, how big of a loss is that for Tassie?
It's huge. He's an extension of Scott Roth out there. This is an irreplaceable position for this club. Other guys, as you know, the team collectively is going to have to step up. I grabbed Isaac White yesterday. He walked past me, and I grabbed him, and I whispered some real stuff into his ear. You know what I mean? Because he's going to have an opportunity right now. He's going to have to step up. McDonald's going to have to step up, right? So you're relying on your bench and reserves, key reserves, you know, that probably would never be in this situation if Majet's healthy, right? Doyle, I had these conversations. Because ultimately, that's my team by my heart. I think maybe it's their colors, you know, Crocs, you know, underdog. So maybe it's that relationship I have with them. And I love, like we all do, we love Scott Roth, right? Sure. But I love Adam Ford. And I love the Snakes, right? So Ben Air, you know, I love they're both underdogs. I love them.
Just pops out.
Right. I love them though.
Yeah.
So flip a coin in that one. Flip a coin.
Really?
Really?
We say no Josh Majet, no Keanu Pender.
No,
but that team has
they
proven,
they were undefeated. They were undefeated without him.
They have proven that they can do it. It works a little differently, but it's still really effective. Bull Qual on Milton Doyle. That's big for me. Yeah. That's the matchup of this series. Now, there's other guys who can have big impacts. Jack McVeigh, DJ Hogue, all these kind of guys. Tajir McCall as a real X factor who can do so many different things. But can Bull Qual in particular keep Milton Doyle quiet? Because he's going to have more playmaking and ball handling responsibilities without Majet. And we talk about those early fouls. Like, if I'm Milton Doyle,
I'm going right at him.
You know what I mean?
He plays one way, not Milton Doyle, but Bull. Ultra aggressive on ball. Rip it through, first foul.
Bang. Get another one.
Then I'm going to talk to him.
Yeah.
Rip first. I dare you touch me again. Go sit down and watch the game with coach. Now you got to think. Now you got him. Chess moves, baby.
Cans, yes?
Cans just.
Cans?
I can't. Flip a coin.
Come on, brother.
Come on.
Come on now.
No.
Believe.
JackJumpers.
10 reasons.
10 reasons.
We'll get them after the break. We'll talk the Brisbane Bullets and yes and no. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved as well. We'll catch you shortly. Thanks for being with us on NBL Overtime. Hashtag NBL Overtime, of course. As always, to get involved, big news for the Brisbane Bullets today, and that is Justin Schuller, Liam, former assistant coach of Melbourne United, the new head coach of the Bullets.
Yeah, congratulations to him. He's done his apprenticeship at Melbourne United under Dean Vickerman, and now he gets a big opportunity. So they've done their search, they've done their interviews. Some others were involved. Judd Flavel, Mike Kelly, Greg Vanderjack was in that mix. They've landed on Justin Schuller, and he gets a big opportunity.
Good luck, Coach. Good luck.
It's going to be a big challenge, no doubt about it. Big challenge. Any reason why do you think, just quickly, Mike Kelly, Judd Flavel, Greg Vanderjack, as you mentioned, any reason that you think Judd, as a result, that he got over the line here?
Well, I mentioned on the podcast earlier this morning his work with the junior national teams over a bunch of years now, under 17 World Cup teams and the like. He knows a lot of that young talent coming up through the system really well, and maybe that'll help them recruit.
Right, this is the shortest edition of Yes or No ever, okay. I think. The dramatic lift, as Cam does every single week. Will Alan Williams be an All-NBL first teamer next season?
Yes.
Are the Cairns Taipans more dangerous and unpredictable without Keanu Pender?
Yes.
Will the Adelaide 36ers roster look very different next season?
Yes.
Is Tashawn Thomas Perth's most important player tomorrow night?
No.
Would a second team in Western Australia work?
Yes.
Was Corey the sharpest dressed man in the room last night?
Yes. Always. Every time.
Thank you.
Told you that was
Look at that.
Adam Ford was a close second.
Adam Ford was smooth.
He was. Cannot wait for what is to come for the remainder of this NBL 23 season. Of course, it starts with the play-in series tomorrow night. Gentlemen, good to see both of you. Thank you for having me.
Good job,
Always a pleasure.
I'm going to come back next week because Cam Luke's on a 2-week junket, so we will see you next week on NBL Overtime as we finish up today. A look back at what was a magical night last night at the Gazeys.